Log recording. This is August 29th, 2022. Time index right now is 7:21 p.m. We've returned to Sea Roseman, California. Hello to the zombies out there, sleep deprived and emotionally deprived. What's going on, guys? I survived an intake with a marriage family therapist, my insurance company, trying to set me up with a behavioral therapist at this point. And regarding my issues, and we talked a little bit. He did the intake, but he was just getting a little bit more information. I thought he was going to be the visit, but apparently he's not. He's just setting me up for it. And the reason why I'm getting another visit coming up this coming Friday at when the hell was it again? Yeah, 2:30 in the afternoon. Hopefully past the nap time or in between the nap times. That I'll be able to talk to a doctor concerning about the situations happening inside of me and everything else going on around the world. Now, I had explained to the intake worker that the videos I'm hoping he'll be able to forward over to her, but if not, I'll just have to include a little description of why. The letters will tell him, but also tell anybody other therapists what I've been going through. This is basically an update. Now, before the intake happened this morning, or this afternoon, this past afternoon, I had gone through a few of the tsunamis, slight ones this time. But this time it was carefully chosen and this time controlled at this point because I wanted to find out more. I'm caught off guard every time I'm running into real life and also theatricals on screens of family togetherness, anything regarding family, including hugs, or anything concerning about the human affection about giving hugs. And I wanted to see what would happen. Now, yesterday, while perusing through social media, I came across a video concerning about a little girl dressed up as a Star Wars character named Rey. And she was at she was at Galaxy's Edge, that's for sure. Either Walt Disney World or Disneyland. Doesn't matter. I think it was Walt Disney World. By the characters they had over there. And she was standing she was standing right in the middle where these guys were going to be walking up towards people, and then they made a right. Actually, they made a left on theirs, left and her right. But they stopped, for a couple of seconds because she had her hand out like this. She had a pole here, but she also had a hand out like this, trying to think she's going to stop these guys, and they stopped for a couple of seconds and move off. And she did that for like 3 or 4, 5 major characters, including stormtroopers. That wasn't getting to me. I mean, it was cute when I was watching this thing. But what got to me was the cast member who played and looked like her, Rey, came up to the child, and the child went like this. And they two hugged. And then there was another guy dressed up in a Chewbacca outfit, and he got the hug. And it's like I had to stop the damn video because everything else started welling up inside again. And this was catching me off guard yesterday. And it was so powerful. It was so momentous. I guess nobody else would have understood. Unless, of course, they actually have met a person who lost everything in their life that meant something to them. I mean, the physical trappings that you see behind me are just physical trappings. What matters the most is in here. And sometimes the stuff in here triggers it off. I was watching this video and it was tearing me apart. And I couldn't help stop crying last night or even earlier this morning. But then it occurred to me. I had to find out. I had to set myself up for this. I really had to set myself up for this. Now, to let you know about these things, I'm usually taping myself a lot. because I need to get it out of me and also research, 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 research. Videos up a storm, doing a video channel called Diary of the Griever named John Weaver. I'm doing this for my own therapy, but it's also for people out there anyway, but mostly for posterity. Not posterity. For the future. Future research. If I happen to get into a situation where it's going to be voluntary or involuntary taking the final passage out of here, instead of walking the path I'm still doing of the grieving and living and surviving, there has to be a record of what's going on inside of me. All of it has to count for something. Hopefully it'll be indications of what people will be looking for. Because every time I keep hearing about people going through suicide at this point over here, they hardly ever leave anything behind, but if they do, nobody's catching it. Until it's too late. And then I hear all the, wish we could have, I'm like, give me a break. Either you guys were not paying attention, or he wasn't leaving it, or that person wasn't leaving enough, or something. But there was always something missing. Because the thought's usually inside the head, and the feeling of worthlessness, and nobody's paying attention at this point over here. Despite the fact that its isolation at this point over here is a silent scream of its sort, telling to the world that I am in trouble, and I don't know how to deal with this. I push people away, and it pisses them off. It upsets them a great deal. And no matter how many times a therapist might try to intervene and try to find what's going on, there's always a miscommunication because there has to be perspective and context. And without those two, there's no perception of what you're dealing with here. Unless you've already walked partially in this guy's shoes or in this person's shoes of what they're going through, of the agony of it. Academic books don't work. Life experience does because it gives you an edge. It gives you an edge at what pain level you're dealing with here and what agony. And you can finally reach to the person and say, look, I've been there myself and I damn near came close to that path and I didn't want it because I chose something else. I want to talk. Can you give me a few minutes? Please. Maybe that'll work. Maybe that won't. In my case right now is that there's been plenty of time within the past decade for me even to walk that final path. But I had been busy in different things left and right that I had let the emotional impact get to me until when my brother died in 2018, my mother died in 2013, the only two core members that really started to affect me. And then a friend of mine, almost like a surrogate mother, who died right after Mama did in 2014. And it was just sealing up things left and right. A surrogate family that I'd known and loved for nearly most of my life. I'm 56, so it's been about 45, more than that, I know. 45, 46 that I'd known them. And they were like my family, and ours was like their family. And we were bonded one way or another. But to lose that connection of no other friends that I've grown up with and loved a great deal, when they lost their mother, I know that it tore them apart, but it tore me apart too. And I couldn't reconnect with them. That's what made it even harder of me grieving like crazy. Me tearing myself apart a great deal. And I don't quite understand it sometimes. I don't. It's hard as hell to do so. And it's grief plays a lot of things on you, including getting the depression activated, getting the anxiety activated, not to mention the PTSD, a lifelong of it. And everything's rolling it up. But the thing is, the pressure of it is getting stronger and stronger each year. Think of it as a rolling stone gathering momentum and speed because of gravity assist. Gravity is forcing this stone down a hillside faster and faster. And there's no obstacle that's stopping it at this point. Some people are going to be looking at this saying, okay, this is going to be something of a suicide situation, maybe or maybe not. Until it actually gets to a point where it's critical mass and critical speed at this point over here, where it's racing down, and something has to stop it or slow it down a little bit. Maybe the pathway, instead of a straight down angle, starts to get more gentler. And maybe somehow, well, that's going to twist off my wrist. Okay, upside down. Well, you get the idea. Just gradual and upwards. That's the thing I'm working on right now. Because I know the momentum is gaining more strength. I'd seen it, I'd gone through it, I'm surviving it, and it's for crap. There's no chemicals that's going to stop a wounded heart like this. But the thing of it is, it's also either understood or misunderstood that there is no control on this freight train here, this rolling stone, because there might be things or people in the way that'll injure it. That's why they keep wondering about the suicides and if I was going to be harming anybody else. See, they generally don't put it into a descriptive analysis or a comparative analysis, or put it into an analogy that someone like me can actually understand. I'm a storyteller. I'm a story writer. I've been like that as a young kid. I've lived in stories. I lived in fantasy life. I lived in books. I tried to write stuff a long time ago, but it's not exactly all that good. But I still got to go back over it again just to see if I can redo it all over again. I'd love to. It was part of my nature a long time ago. And I still have to rediscover it even as I'm a patchwork right now. Getting back to Ray, when I saw that, I knew there had to be something to it. This morning, right after that session, I had to find that video again. I had to. And I saw it. And again, it nailed me. It nailed me. It nailed me so damn hard I was crying all over again, but with a realization. Trying to find certain specific targeted, I used to call them landmines, but now they're just triggers out there, to put me into this kind of emotional headlock, this emotional tsunami where I'm just pouring out my guts, damn near squeezing my chest and causing my heart just to damn near kill me, especially when I'm trying to get the oxygen out of my chest here. And the waterworks. And the constant apologizing to God, to everybody. Saying I'm sorry, but I don't even know what I'm saying sorry for. Talking about this has also left me depressed because every time those major sessions happen, it leaves me depressed and tired as hell where I have to just lay down and rest. Maybe sleep if I'm lucky. And speaking about sleep, I haven't had actual 6 to 8 hours in years. Not since I lost Ma. Changed me a hell of a lot. I used to have 4 hours, used to 4 to 6 hours when I was working retail and taking care of her 24/7. You try to be a support caregiver, especially when your brother's the primary. And then when your mother dies, you become the same caregiving status, except you're the primary to take care of him when he's going to need it the most. And the thing about the grieving situation over here is as I'm trying to indicate to other people about what's going on here is I may be going through a hell of a lot of grieving situations at this point over here. And I know there's been a hell of a lot of guilt and a lot of self-depreciation going on here. But I also know my family was going through the same damn thing without even knowing it or without even saying it to anybody. But if they were, my mother didn't say it to anybody. She kept it all to herself until she passed away. There was no diaries, no notes. But how do I know? When I saw her take care of her grandmother, actually her own mother, the last few years of her life after getting a stroke that made my grandmother, my mother's mother, into an invalid. Half her body was working. The right side, the left side was dead because of the stroke hitting the right side of the brain. And memories are screwed up left and right, and it was taxing her like crazy. At the same time, my brother was in the Navy, couldn't even get out. He forced the Navy to get him out. It took a year off to help Ma out before he had to go back in to get a bad conduct discharge. Never got upgraded since. Navy blackballed his ass, I guess. But he had to deal with the nightmares he dealt with in the surface. And I had to walk him through that shit while dealing with my own. But getting back to Mama. This was back in the 80s. Between 79 and 82, 83, I think. And when her mother died, part of her died inside. She changed a great deal. She tried to be open and she tried to be happy and laugh at things a few years later, but she was still hard as hell. She never could admit it to David, but if she did, David never told me about it. That she was barely holding on to her grief and her pain because of losing her mother. It was hard as hell. And David was affected by it because he's already lost relatives already. So he understands the pain, but he never talked about it either. And nobody ever talked with me about it because I was still hurting. We never got into therapy sessions. So we were each dealing with our own grief in our own way at this point over here just to survive. Basically, we shoved it aside and had to focus on life. But the pain and the memories were in there in the subconscious. Buried. Put into a Pandora's box ready to be used. And how's it making me feel right now? Uneasy. Because I'm coming closer to the truth on that one. I know I am. And I have to keep talking about it. I have to keep talking about it on devices like this all the damn time. With a voice app on these things, I can turn this damn thing into a tape recording. And constantly record whatever I need to off here. And then transfer it over to a laptop and then transfer it over to flash drives. Including videos we're doing right here. Get this going, see if it's worth a while, put it on YouTube, and then save it on the drives, and then get rid of it because I need space on my drive, on my laptop here. And that's been it for several years. Because I had to do this for myself. But I didn't get it to the YouTube until about 3 years ago. It was really getting hard. And then all hell breaking loose during that time. Well, my mother died. She had about 10, I lost track, about 5 to 10 years of losing everything else she had inside of her, including all the other people that she ever loved, friends, family, nieces, all her siblings dead. It buried her alive, put her into a hospital bed, and last 3 years, I think, she never got out of it. She willed herself to death. that isn't a suicide, I don't know what else is. Without dealing with the grief, without dealing with the pain, without going through this shit here. By just denying and keep saying to people, oh, you just let it go and you just got to be happy. It doesn't work that way. Because I've seen the opposite on this damn shit. And I've seen how denying this damn shit without even going through help of talking to other people about this shit, and she never did. At least, not that I was aware of. And I think it buried her alive, and it killed her. She died of respiratory distress, but died of this. And when it got to the point where she started seeing family members and then an angel coming towards her, she was more relieved. The tension came out of her face. She was going home and she was at peace with it. That's just scared the hell out of me because I was never at peace with it in the first place. Not as a kid, definitely not as an adult. And I can tell you, 4 years old, going through an open heart surgery. Still got a scar in here somewhere. Faded, but it's still in there. Crack open the chest just to repair mitral valves, dying a few times and coming back to life. And nobody bothered to give me any psychotherapy after that either. Well, we're dealing in a time that never dealt with psychotherapy with kids or people going through PTSD or anything else like that. No wonder people are killing themselves left and right over suicide. Because if there was any help for PTSD, old school doctors were hardcore. Crusty and old. And expected everyone else to be the same damn way. Including kids. No wonder I hated the medical establishment. It gave me a hell of a lot of fear and a lot of distrust. And my brother, last 5 years, he was dying on the inside as well. Because after losing Mama, he was looking for something else to take care of it. He was already a recovering alcoholic and drug user. He didn't want to go back to the damn thing because he already made that promise to Mama a long time ago. And he was vowing to keep it until the day he died. And he did. 32 years clean and sober. But he found somebody who scammed the living crap out of him, took his heart, and took his money. And Danner got me buried alive in the situation. It's a long story on this one, Doc. I cut it off well after he passed away. Because I didn't want to be buried alive even further with this damn crap she was pulling on me. So, I was seeing my brother die. We had a few neighbors over here that might kept him alive. But in the end, he was dying on the inside. He was also suffering through PTSD because of the stuff he did in the military, besides combat related. There was other things that happened to him in there that shouldn't have happened in the first place. And he had talked to therapists and got medications for the PTSD medications to help him sleep at night. It wasn't helping very much. Not very much at all. When he died, it was almost an immediate thing. He wakes me up in the middle, almost barely at the dawn of morning, saying he can't breathe. On my phone's already on 911 at that point. I'm talking to them while trying to get things cleared up because I know they're going to be bringing in the gurney and take him over to the hospital. The last 3 or 4 years when he was alive, I was taking him to the hospital every so often because something would happen to his heart or something would happen to his breathing. I thought he was going to be over there maybe for an overnight spell. But between home and the emergency room is when he passed away. And seeing his body being rolled in like a piece of meat. I never thought I'd be screaming and yelling at him and Dan were getting thrown out of the damn emergency room because of the damn shock. So for about the entire year, I was still in a state of shock, somewhat in pain. Didn't want to admit it or acknowledge it, but I was still talking something about it. Still dealing with a mess he left. I had to secure the same place over the roof, over my head, as you're seeing right now. I had to fight that and fight bed bugs. I was also going to school for several years. It's like right after Ma died, that was the only chance I had to go back to college, and made a promise to her and my brother I'd do it this time. I was going to do it. And the ironic thing about it is the last year of my brother's life, he tried to corner me in a promise to him I was going to break anyway. He said to Mother, whatever happens to me, John, promise me that you will continue education. I said, David, if anything gets worse on you, I'm taking care of you. I don't care what this shit happens. I could put the education on hold, but you are my number one priority, damn it. You're my big brother, and you're all I got. And I meant every damn word of it, too. I'd put college on hold again. I'd screwed it up 30 plus years ago. I disappointed Ma and David back then. But mostly I disappointed myself because I didn't have maturity, perspective, context. Besides having a little working knowledge about the college process and how they work, I wasn't emotionally ready for that shit. So about nearly 2.5 years of dealing with community college, I got kicked out. Academic probation. Separation, actually. My mother gave me two options: work full-time or go homeless. I worked full-time. In 30 years, I struggled at different jobs and different trainings for different things. But I never left my mother's side and never left my brother's side either. Except when my brother was going out for truck driving training. Or Ma went out to visit a sister. But I stayed. I stayed connected. I stayed attached. I didn't want to leave. I was too damn afraid of what was going on outside. I was too afraid of being alone. And I didn't like it. And the thing of it is, when I was growing up, I was forcing myself to be alone. I had this aloofness around me. I just didn't want anybody else being around me, but I still wanted some kind of structure and support. It's crazy thinking, I know. But that was going on through my head a long time ago as a kid. Didn't make friends very well. But the ones who actually did tolerate me the most, well, I was grateful to that. That's why a family adopted us, I think. Not just because of me, but what we found in common with each other. And losing them was like losing part of my heart, or what was left of it. A year after David died, I went back to college. Actually, I had to wait about a semester. It was the fall of 2018. I took off. The winter session was there, and I still took that off. And then spring session, I barely crawled back. And then the next term was fall again. And that's when the COVID was kicking in. Barely, but it was going to kick its ass. It's going to kick my ass. And I had to do something for me. And it was triggering me a little bit here and there because every time I kept saying family situations on television shows, I was crying my eyeballs out left and right. This year, it's gotten a lot worse. With the educational system's struggling, and I'm trying to push forward to get a degree in something in college, and I've been at it for about 6 years, coming up on 7. I was having a fun time at it too, at this mature level here. But I was still struggling with my brother's death and Ma's death, and feeling the weight of everybody else that I didn't get a chance to mourn, even for the ones that have left me, didn't bother to talk to me ever again. So yeah, it hurts. It hurts. I came back to class last semester, and I was able to get through it. No issues. I'm going to tell you another trigger that also got to me as well. But I just want to continue on with this one before I work on that other train of thought here. When I started a summer vacation, usually I'd sleep, relax, watch videos, play video games, just get my mind off of things left and right. But what happened was I opened up a can of Pandora's box opened up. Well, let me rephrase that. It wasn't opened up easily enough. It was nuked. I blew it up. And all the ills and wills came out of it. Every single day, nearly every single day, I was crying my eyeballs out because I was getting triggered left and right, either by noxious, innocent-looking pictures, innocuous, but things related to what I used to be like, and having a family structure and having family, my family, everything relating to that one way or another, my mind would be making those kind of connections with it, the freeform connections. It was tearing my ass apart. So instead of looking at myself and getting myself ready mentally for the next fall, for this past fall, I couldn't function. I was depressed all the damn time and letting things slide over here so damn much. I've got flies and I got a bug war. And there went our ambulances. Anyway, I had to take the time off from this semester to get me taken care of, because last semester, even though it would have been a perfect timing for it, logically speaking, emotionally I was a wreck. I wasn't thinking logically. I was tearing myself apart being angry because I wasn't taking care of this place properly enough. Still haven't. I still haven't. Yeah, so I was going to be talking about the other thing. I almost kind of lost track of that one there too. I guess I'll remember it eventually. I'll get a trigger of it, and then I'll be able to go through it. But it hurt so damn badly every time I kept going through these damn things. COVID kicked in, left me locked out from human companionship to traveling to even a local store without wearing like PPD and garb just to protect myself from a damn bug before getting inoculated. But I was still getting myself torn apart emotionally. And crying my ass off. I had made two musical videos, one of my mother and one of my brother. This idea I'd gotten from a memorial service for a 12-step friend. And I thought to myself, I could do something like that for Ma and Dave. Before David died, I made one for Ma. To the point where he saw it, he loved it so much, he said, "Don't ever show it to me ever again." And I already know it touched him. It didn't touch him, it was kind of going to kill him with the grief. He never saw it again. He never willed himself to see it again. Neither had I. And I made one for David. Memories of him, too. And after doing that, I just said, forget it, I'm not doing another one. Because if I'm going to be doing another one for myself, maybe that would be the time I'd be doing the final path. I can tell you that the grief has really affected me more than one way. I've said in other videos on how my own mental being was before the passing. And in my videos, I kept trying to tell people how the hell I lived. I considered the medical establishment the enemy because they treated me as the enemy. I treated them as the enemy, even though they're trying to save my life. How does that work? You're supposed to do no harm. But it never said anything about giving the patient so much pain that they couldn't deal with it. But then again, there's also drugs to give them that one. How to give them more hell. Especially prescription drugs that kind of screws around with the brain. And I damn near got killed in one. You don't give medication for acne, actually for chemotherapy to a patient and just call it acne medication. Expect him to mentally survive. I damn near killed myself on the damn thing because I was so damn depressed about it. Doctor never knew. The doctors I kept trying to talk to always considered me as white lab coat case. Every time I kept saying a white lab coat or go to a doctor's office or even a therapist's office when I managed. My blood pressure was always skyrocketing. My pulse was racing, and I was short of breath because I was in a constant fight or flight of all the past I had, all the accidents and near misses or near death experiences, just about. Even the latest one as an adult damn near killed me and scared the fuck out of me. I've been staying here a long time. My brother's been dead. I've got a mortuary right here. Top shelf has got my family's ashes. I can't even go near it without feeling this and the hole in the chest. And for decency's sake, I'm not about to show you what scar I still had that's fading here that because of the heart operation I had. And regarding to the suicide situation there, as I said before, I can understand them because I damn near came close to it. The only thing is, I don't want to face God just yet. As much as tired I am concerning about what's going on right now as it is, with all the emotional crap I'm putting myself through right now as it is. And I don't blame people for this. I really don't blame people trying to interfere one way or another and tell me one thing or another. I don't blame it because that's probably their way of trying to be concerned about stuff. But the thing is, for me, it doesn't help me much. I know it, and it's easy enough for me to do it because there are tools. There are tools out there. There are tools around me that could be used. But it's got to be the will, and it's got to be the intention of the damn thing, and it scares the living crap out of people, especially when I talk about it, because they keep thinking I'm going to be doing it. And sometimes I had considered it quite a few times, but I don't do it. The promise I made to my family, I don't renege on that one. But the thing of it is, I don't piss off God either. And I'm so afraid of talking to him about this. I mean, it's one thing for me, a mere mortal, praying up to the heavens, as I am right now. But no, I got to deal with him as a spirit over there and deal with him full frontal and expecting him to bounce my ass into hell because I killed myself by wasting his precious gift. By not doing or being or just being. And just allowing myself to go insane at this point over here. I know I'm human. I know I'm human. And humans usually have limitations, and I know I'm not a Superman. And people kept kept thinking I am a Superman. I went on grief pages left and right over the past few years. talking about my story constantly. And some people think I'm the greatest guy around, and other people just, okay, well, there's a guru, and there's this thing, and there's that thing, and there's this, and there's that, and there's this, and there's that. And I'm thinking, no. I'm not hiding from the damn thing. I'm not going to be putting on damn covers. I got to go walk through this damn shit myself if I have to. Going through the muck and mud. Screaming and yelling my head out because I can't stand the damn pain, but I still got to go through the shit anyway. Why? I don't know. Driven? Pride? Ego? I could turn into a sadomasochist, really loving pain when I really don't? It's bad enough I keep going through blood tests or injections and I'm flinching like crazy. And I'm trying to hold it together and trying to hold it still while I'm using my arms as pincushions. I don't like the stings and I don't like the damn needles and I don't like anything about it. I keep getting the flashbacks from my youth. Part of the PTSD. And I know it is. But regarding the grief and depression, it's a different story altogether. Feeling the way I am, being the way I am right now, it's not the easiest damn shit for me to go through, I'll tell you. I'm usually doing log reports like this constantly on video, on my own channel, because I'm reiterating, telling how my days are going, if I've lost my head regarding politics or history or anything else going on. Something to get me out of my own damn funk, my own damn depressional shit. Without going through medications, without trying to hear someone else saying, I've got a spiritual thing for you. I'm like, oh my God, give me my crucifix. Back, demon, back. I'll make it out of fingers here. Back, demon, back. Keep your happiness and your joy to yourself at this point. I'm perfectly screwed up and miserable right now, and that's what I'm dealing with. You don't like it? Back! I'll do a T-cross on you. This is my story. This is my story, Doc. At least part of it anyway. There's too much crap on here, and that's why I keep doing their audio recordings. No, they're not podcasts. They're my own personal journals. I keep a lot of them on things like this. Not to mention the videos. Because they're important to me. And if I die, or when I die, the only things I leave left for a legacy is this shit. And maybe someone will understand why I went through what I went through. I didn't go through it by choice. There is no choice. It's just survival in this damn shit. That's all it is. And it hasn't been easy. Never has been. But anyway, that's my story, Doc, and I'm sticking to it. Because after this, I'll be spilling out my guts again one more time. Before I head off tonight and end probably at 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning. I'll be doing it all over again because I don't sleep. I'm a vampire. I got narcolepsy. Yes, I got narcolepsy. I've got sleep apnea, and it was proven at one time. I can't find the damn medical records anywhere. But I did go through a sleep study, and I got a CPAP that needs to be replaced. Big time. And I've got insomnia at times. 3 major sleep issues at the same damn time, and I'm surprised my brain hasn't blown up yet. Or the heart. Or anything else for that matter. God still must love me. I don't know why. I don't know what I did to piss him off this time. Anyway, I'll be doing another log after this one here. So.